Well, hi there. Welcome to this session, which is our FuturePrint Expo Spotlight. I'm very pleased to have in my spotlight today Guy Thompson, who is Product and Business Development Manager for HP. Guy, good to see you.
Hi, nice to be here. Thank you.
Now, Guy, you are Product Manager for HP's PageWide Inkjet business and a particular focus on corrugated and packaging and paper-based packaging products. So very much that area. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today. You have been in the industry for a few years, haven't you? You were just saying how many DRUPAs you've been to. Just tell us a bit about that.
I hate to even count, but I think the first one I went to must have been something like 86. So that's a lot of DRUPAs. And, that shows evolved quite a lot over those years.
Yeah. And obviously quite a big, significant this year, really, because it hasn't been around for 8 years or so. So the whole cycle is shifting. And interestingly, in the conversations I've had, there's lots more talk around particularly packaging. Although it's a print show, we're talking a lot about packaging, interestingly enough. And obviously, we're going to talk a little bit more about corrugated specifically. I wanted to kind of have a chat with you because you're going to give us a short presentation explaining a little bit more about what you do and a bit more around the topic of corrugated and paper-based packaging products from HP. And I think also you're quite interested in just explaining a bit more about the kind of workflow, the software element, not just about the technology. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Because I think the workflow is a key element to make sure that the whole process hangs together, and this digital print can be fitted effectively and efficiently into the plant's workflow. So it's essential. So yes, we'll absolutely talk about that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'll pass it over to you so you can just share a few slides with us, and then I'll come back to you at the end and ask a couple of questions. Or I'd like to find out a little bit more about your view of what is happening and what you expect to see at DRUPA. So we'll pick up on that. But let's look at this. So embrace your DRUPA moment beyond the box. Guy Thompson, over to you.
Thank you very much, Fraser. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'd like to start really by talking a little bit about HP's corrugated portfolio. And we've got several presses in this space. And really, it's all about how those presses deliver cost saving and agility to the production of, not just corrugated, but actually a range of paper-based packaging products. I'll start by talking about the sheet-fed press, the C5500. This is a press that prints directly onto corrugated sheets. And this was launched last year, and we already have 4 installations in the field up and running. And we do also believe in really supporting our customers' growth and offering performance upgrades to the existing install base. So we've also upgraded 3 of our original C500 customers to the increased specification, which is offering them an increased speed of 90 linear meters a minute. And by the way, these speed increases aren't at the expense of quality, because our print modes, we don't, let's say, switch into quality mode and performance mode. It's all there. What else about the C5500? The platform's Industry 4.0 ready. And obviously the next phase everybody's talking about is Industry 5.0, which is really focusing on the sustainability and energy efficiency. And yeah, we're happy to talk to customers about how this press and how digital printing in general can improve their sustainability profile. Last point I'd like to make is the inks on the C5500. The CV150 inks, we've just had them certified with NAPIM, the National Association of Printing Ink Manufacturers, and they've certified that we have a biorenewable content, which is a BRC index of 80, and that's on a scale from 10 to 100. So that's at the good end of the scale. So for us, for HP as a company as a whole, and specifically in packaging, we're always looking for ways to improve the sustainability profile of our customers. Turning now to the roll-fed presses. This is the T700i press. This is our newest press. The first machine will be delivered at the end of this year, and we will have a launch event for it in Würzburg in June. So if people want more information about that event, come and see us at DRUPA. This press is 1.7 meters wide, and it's aimed squarely at the litholam market. Like every other digital process, the T700 eliminates the litho presses and make-readies. But in addition, in this litholam market, you've got several other benefits, which are you'll get a 50% increase in laminator speed by feeding it with digitally printed rolls. And you also have opportunities to reduce the weight of the liner you're printing on, because you're not tied down by sheet feeding systems that are more sensitive. So yeah, replacing that litho sheet with digital rolls reduces the overall cost of production of the laminated sheet. And we call this DigiLam. Now there's another step you could take, which is to actually, instead of laminating, take that roll, that digitally printed roll, directly to a narrow corrugator, something like a Fosber Quantum. And we call that DigiCore. So really there's a journey from litholam to DigiLam to DigiCore, and each one with increasing benefits, so to speak. Obviously, we can go through detailed economics with any customer, when we meet face to face. But this really tries to show how all the costs and the cost of the digital inks, which everybody likes to talk about, is offset by the elimination of plates, the increased productivity of the laminator, and the reduction of time on the litho press for make ready, and as well as paper savings. So you can see here a substantial reduction in the direct manufacturing cost using DigiLam on a T700 compared to litholam. And you also get benefits in the time. If you look at the blue bars, there's a huge reduction in the time spent in that manufacturing process, which of course saves money as well. We can go through that detail with customers at the time. The T1195i, this is our big workhorse for the corrugated box plant. So this is 2.8 meters wide. It runs at a maximum speed of 300 meters a minute, top speed, and it's ideally suited to feed the corrugator with digitally printed rolls. You can also use it as part of a hub and spoke model. So our German customer, FuturePrint, part of the TIM group, does that today. They feed other box plants, including their own, but also trade customers, with digitally printed rolls. So the T1195i offers litho quality print in low qualities without the time penalties associated with flexo plate making and all litho make readies. Two of our customers have recently purchased their second T1100 press, which is always a good sign. So Georgia Pacific installed a second press last year in Arizona so that they could reach a wider market, because America's kind of a big place. And the TIM Group recently installed their second press after FuturePrint in one of their box plants in Ulsai in Germany. So, and they're continuing the same value proposition they proposed with FuturePrint, which is to offer their customers zero minimum order quantity, zero lead time, at no additional cost, and all produced in a sustainable way. So that's Tim's mantra, and obviously we follow that and support that. So one final thing about the outside press is delivering print within that box plant means that you can remove the make readies you can remove the color from the converting lines, so that reduces cost, but it also frees up converting capacity, which you can use for something else. We're getting a lot of conversations with customers about greenfield sites, completely new plants. And there, the box plant of the future that everybody talks about, that will have no color flexo printing. It'll all be done digitally. So you need fewer converting lines because those lines don't need to be spending time setting up for color. So you can also eliminate a lot of space that's currently used for inventory, because everything is printed and corrugated just in time. And, that saves millions in finished goods inventory costs. The final press I want to talk about today is the T470S. In fact, the T400S was our first press in the packaging market, first page-wide press in packaging, and the T470S is an evolution of this. But it actually excels in a range of paper-based packaging applications beyond corrugated. So it's 106 centimeters wide, and it's a good fit for many roll-based bag and pouch making applications. And these are becoming increasingly interesting as customers who today produce with plastics, those plastics are being driven out for sustainability reasons. So paper is replacing plastic. So this is very interesting. Now, the machine is capable of handling up to 460 micron caliper. That's 18 point for the Americans. And this really lets us address a wide range of folding carton applications. And we've just installed a press in a company called Zumbiel Packaging in Kentucky for exactly doing folding carton applications. He's a pioneer in digital print in folding. He's had previous digital print applications, and he's configured it with a high capacity auto splice unwinder and a sheeter. And what they intend to do is print a very wide range of short run and long run folding carton, including things like beverage packs and what have you. So we see Zumbiel as an important, let's say, pioneer and use case for this folding carton application. Okay, Frazer, you said we were going to talk about workflow as well, because I think that's key to holding this all together. On the preprint side, and I'll talk about postprint in a second, the key thing for digital is you want to be able to produce short runs on a roll efficiently. How do you do? And that's very easy to do with the digital print. You can print multiple jobs without stopping. But how do you make the corrugator handle that? So the answer is we put special marks on the print, and those marks inform the corrugator when the job changes, and therefore when they need to trigger an order change on the corrugator, which might be a dry end splitter change, or it might be a wet end change. E&L supplies a system called SmartLine, which uses a specially coded follower line at the edge of the roll, and that manages the order change. So the roll goes into the corrugator. Well, the printed roll goes into the corrugator. It's cut, it's corrugated, and it comes out on the stacker as fully printed, ready to go sheets to go into converting. So yeah, HP's one package corrugated workflow environment makes it easy to link together the planning system that corrugator plants have together, which, that defines directly what's going to be on that roll. And then one package basically assembles the elements of that roll, the right PDFs, etc., together with the smart lines and sends it for print. And that's a completely automatic process. It then creates a record of what was actually printed, including any issues that might have been on the roll that are picked up by the inspection system, and then it passes that to the E&L controller on the corrugator. Let's change now to the post-print side, the workflow for the C550 rather. We work with a group of industry-leading pre-press suppliers, and when you transition from flexo post-print to digital post-print or digital print in general, you need to take into account a number of things. First is the simplicity of producing 4-color files compared to flexo spot plates. You get consistency of color in the printing, and you get control of that color using precise color management. So that means everything color-wise is locked down. The digital press operator never has to get his fingers in the ink like a flexo operator does. It's the ink's the ink, and the color is consistent, provided the pre-press is set up correctly. And working with these partners like GMG, ESCO Hybrid, we can put together a workflow that ensures that is all locked down, correct, and automated. So the key is to automate these things, because as run lengths shorten, that means you're running more jobs, more shorter jobs. So you need to make all those processes upstream, like pre-press, as efficient as possible. You automate them. That reduces time, and it reduces the potential for errors, and everything happens as smoothly as possible. So that's the key to workflow there. So really, that was what I had to say. If you've got further questions, come and see us at DRUPA. Talk about folding carton, paper bags, and corrugated. And we're in Hall 17 at DRUPA.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's a really nice kind of summing up of what you're doing, what HP are doing in this particular space. Some really impressive pieces of kit. And as you said, weaving in the importance of workflow and the software element to make sure efficiencies are there. Just as a sort of big picture thinking, you're in this space very much. Digital print in corrugated and packaging continues to be something that, obviously the manufacturers like yourselves are keen to remind people of the benefits. Are the packaging converters getting it?
They're getting it. And in fact, I think what's even more interesting to us is we're starting to see a trend with the brands actually specifying digital. And that really is the key to it, because, I'll be honest with you, a box plant today, they're going to say, oh, shall I buy digital, or shall I stick with what I know and what my father installed and my grandfather before him? And so there is a lot of
inertia.
Thank you. That's a good word for it. So having brands be asking for digital, and why are they asking? Well, they like the consistent quality. They like the fast turnaround times. And that means they don't have to keep inventory. And, some of these, we've done studies, they waste millions scrapping their inventory because they've become obsolete, they've changed their designs and what have you. And that's a big benefit to them. So when they get that sends a message to the industry. So absolutely. And more and more people, it's a momentum thing. As more and more presses go in, more people come to us and say, yeah, what about this digital thing?
Yeah. And you mentioned paper, not plastic, as well. That statement that's quite important. I've seen it, mentioned quite a lot. It's clearly getting through, isn't it? It's getting traction.
Yeah. Corrugated recycles, and paper is increasingly coming into all the sort of food service applications and bags and pouches. That is a big trend. So that means a lot of people who aren't handling paper today are looking at that industry. So particularly in that bags, pouches area, that's getting exciting. Yeah.
And obviously, sustainability, you mentioned it. It's a key word that's, bandied around. How does, is there anything we kind of missed there? You talked a little bit about it, but HP PageWide presses delivering good sustainable options?
I mean, there's two things I can put my finger on, so to speak. One is, Tim Group did an exercise to compare the energy usage of their flexo preprint operation with their digital preprint operation. They're in the same building, they could make that comparison of, net for a whole year, everything that went in, ink, plates, print heads, energy, you name it. And they came out with, something like just purely on energy, a 50% saving on energy on the digital side compared to the flexo. And also when we did that CO2 analysis, I forget the number off the top of my head, but there was a significant improvement in the CO2 used in that production process. So that's a good side. The other side is, basically digital print is about making sure you print just what you need, just when you need it. So there's a reduction in waste. There's no overprint, and that's a huge cost saving because cost and CO2 and everything else, because you're not printing stuff and using paper that you don't need to use. And that's one of the key stories about digital.
Sure. So thinking a bit more now just about DRUPA, and you said yourself you've been to quite a few of them. There's a sense, I think, with this one that we haven't been there for sort of 8 years or so things may have changed. What do you sense is going to be the key themes for the event? And I'm also interested in the kind of the particular space that you're in, the corrugated space. There are going to be a number of other manufacturers there, so give me a bit of a view on that.
One area that interests me, and I think we're going to see more on, is digital print for folding carton, and that's starting to get exciting. I mean, I talked about the T470S in that space. We've seen AGFA recently announce that they're moving into that space after many years outside of production print. So they've obviously made a choice. Which market do we go for? Packaging, yes. Folding carton, yes. And they're joining HP and KMB and Landa in that space for folding carton. So I think that's starting to get very interesting. And, there's even people saying that this will be the DRUPA for digital folding carton. Yeah, many people claim this will be the DRUPA for their product area.
Yeah, but the Inkjet DRUPA or the yeah, you're right. So just thinking more about the landscape and the different options for someone in the corrugated space. There's obviously what you're offering. How does it kind of compare with what else might be there? I think Koenig & Bauer with their KBA and Durst have a product. As you mentioned, AGFA have a product. EFI have a product. How do you think that landscape looks if I'm there as a converter looking for an option?
Well, I think you've got to split that thought process into two. One is post-print, printing on the board, and the other is pre-print. So printing on the board, obviously, we've got the C550, and we talk about our water-based inks, which have a high need in terms of for food applications, etc. There's no photo initiators and what have you. The quality print we get, etc. So there's a comparison, if you like. There are many post-print machines in the market. It's quite a crowded space. So I think the C550 team are doing a great job in really attacking that space. Then on the pre-print side, particularly with the T1100 or 1195i and the T700. That's a volume play. So that's saying I am going to do, 90, 100 million square meters out of that machine, which is going to service all the color needs of your box plant or a network of plants. And that is going to be well above, if you've got that volume and you focus that production method, which involves some disruption, let's say, of your existing work processes, but that's the way to make the big savings and the big evolution of that manufacturing process. It will be the cheapest way to manufacture color printed boxes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. So exciting landscape for anyone who's coming along to DRUPA that you've got a portfolio. I mean, HP have got a huge booth, haven't they? A huge stand. I think it's pretty much one whole hall, isn't it? So you've got a lot of.
I forget the whole of Hall 17, yeah. And you've got all the Indigo family of products there, which is very diverse. And, you know, in commercial print applications, we've got PageWide presses in commercial as well, because we make presses that are used for book printing, for direct mail, transactional mail, such like. So yeah, there's really any form of digital print, and we've probably got something in that space.
I think you definitely HP are going to be up there, aren't they, in terms of the whole event? So yeah, absolutely right. So just to remind people, your if they want to find you, where will you be?
Hall 17, and it's just the hall. Don't worry about which stand. It's just the hall. You could spend a day walking around that hall.
I think you will. Guy, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much. And as you said yourself, your first DRUPA was 1986, so this will be certainly another one for you to put on the board and tick it off. And we look forward to that. And thank you very much for giving us a bit of your time today.
Thanks, Fraser. Great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.